Scooter. There's nothing better than coming home on a cold, rainy day like today and having dinner just about ready. I'm making some southern cooking, y'all, today, starting with some country-style ribs that I started early this morning, some red beans and rice, and a mint julep iced tea. But I already started these, and these have been cooking all day. These are the country-style ribs. But it seems so long ago, like it was almost a dream. It's early in the morning. That was a.m. 6 a.m. But I found that if I take just a couple of minutes out of my busy morning schedule, it's well worth it to have most of my dinner ready for me when I come home. And you walk in the door, and it smells like there's been someone cooking in your house all day. So let me show you what I got going on here. Got my slow cooker here, and I've got these country-style ribs. Look at these.
Wow.
I got about 2 pounds of these in here.
Wow.
They're gorgeous, huge, yummy. And these are going to cook all day in here. But what I want to do first is just season them up. This is a mixture of black pepper, salt, paprika, onion powder, and chili powder. And it's sort of like I'm doing a dry rub on them. And I just want to coat those so to get some of that seasoning directly on the meat. And then the next thing I do is I take about 3/4 of a cup of my favorite barbecue sauce. This is like a thick molasses honey-based barbecue sauce that I like, that doesn't have a whole lot of extra sodium in it. And I'm just going to coat this in it, and when it cooks, that sauce will get all nice and caramelized. Those ribs will get really fork tender and be absolutely delicious. So all I have to do now is put the cover on, set this for 8 hours, and here's a trick that if you're using a slow cooker, what you want to do is take your car keys, put it beside the slow cooker. That way you remember to turn it on before you leave for the day. I've forgotten a couple of times, and that's not good to come home to a thing of cold raw meat that's been sitting on the counter all day. Not good. But it's so worth it. Like I said, just take a couple minutes out of your busy morning. You come home and you've got a fully cooked meal right in the crock pot. It's going to be great. Okay, so I'm nice and relaxed. I had an opportunity to change my clothes, come home from work, get some stuff started. These ribs have been cooking for 8 hours on low, and if you're in the market for a slow cooker, try to get one that actually has a timer on it so you can program it how long you want it to cook. Because if you've got a long commute like I do, I go to Boston and it takes me an hour to get home and an hour to get there, you don't want to overcook your food. So by programming this for 8 hours, it means for the rest of the time I'm gone, it's just going to keep it warm, what it's doing now. Right now, so I've got my red beans and rice starting. And I just have some garlic and onion, salt and pepper going in the pan. And I'm going to add in my brown rice. Got a little olive oil in there. And to that, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of butter. Get that going and melted. That's going to help us have a little bit of a sauce later on. And then also, I've got a little bit of some red chili and a little bit of a jalapeno minced up, nice and small. Just give us a little kick, give us that southern flavor. And to that as well, I've got a mixture here of some table sugar, some paprika, and a little bit of cumin. And the table sugar actually helps the bite of those chilies, so it calms it down just a little bit. So I'm going to stir this all up, get that rice nice and thirsty, get that butter starting to melt. It's an important step when making a slow cooked rice because you want the rice itself to get thirsty, so it's going to absorb the liquid. And now it's time for that. And here I've got 2 cans of low fat, low sodium chicken broth, as well as 3/4 of a cup of water. And usually it's 2 cups of liquid to 1 cup of rice. and I've got 2 cups of rice, so that would be 4 cups, but I've added extra in there just to have a little bit of extra liquid to make that sauce later on. So in that goes. I'm on medium heat right now. All I have to do is just add in my red beans, yum, dark red beans, and they have a nice starchy quality to them, and I'm adding them now so that some of them will break down a little bit and add that starch into the mixture, as well as the starch from the rice, and that will lend itself to a nice little sauce at the end. And I'm just going to wait for this to come up to a boil, then I'm going to reduce it down to low and cook it for about 45 minutes. That means I can relax a little bit more and unwind after work. It's cocktail time! Well, not really. But actually, what I'm doing today is a combination of a mint julep and some southern sweet tea. Now, traditionally, a mint julep is just a little rocks glass with a tablespoon of sugar and an ounce or 2 of bourbon and some mint leaves in it. Trust me, that's it. I hosted this Kentucky Derby party once, and I told everyone coming that I was making mint juleps. And they were so excited for them, and they thought they were going to be this sort of creme de menthe type drink that was sweet and yummy and everything. Needless to say, when they found out what it was, they hated the mint julep. But that's okay, because I love them. Every single one of them. But that's another story. I'm going to make a savor version of that with southern sweet tea. Basically what I'm going to do is take tea, sugar, and mint and mix it together. Now here's a tip. They call this pitcher cha-cha because she's the best dancer at St. Bernadette. But actually this is a cha-cha pitcher, and that is exactly why it ended up on our wedding registry, because it's named cha-cha. So I pre-measured my water just a little short in here, and I put it in my, boiling water. I put it in my pan to boil it. Wow, okay. This is ready. So the first thing that I'm going to add is my cup of sugar. And I do that first, and I make sure that the cup of sugar is fully dissolved, because if it sinks down to the bottom and just sits there, you're going to have a layer of like caramelized sugar, and you're going to have a huge mess to clean up later. It's dissolved. Next thing, 10 tea bags of your favorite tea. Put them right in, and I clipped off the little paper thing so that it doesn't make the water bitter. Gonna let that sit in there. And then I've got a bunch of fresh mint from my garden. Just gonna sort of twist that a little bit to bruise the leaves. Put it right in there. Put the cover on and let it sit for 10 minutes. Now 10 minutes is going to give you a little bit of a stronger brew, but don't forget we're going to add ice to this, and you're also going to serve it over ice. And don't worry, it won't be bitter. So 10 minutes, and then we'll have our drink, we'll have our rice and our ribs, and we'll be ready to go. That is excellent. It's light, it's refreshing. The mint in it will be a nice balance to some of the spicier food. But one of the times that I really love drinking this is first thing in the morning before I even have my breakfast. The mint, believe it or not, has a nice calming effect on your stomach. So if you ever have an upset stomach or something, this type of thing is a really good thing to have. It's also very refreshing on a hot summer day. But let's check out this meal. I like to drizzle just a little bit of that barbecue sauce I used this morning over the meat, just to give it a little extra something something. Then I want to try the rice. It's yummy. It's like a risotto. It's got a sauce to it. It's got a little bit of kick from the chilies, but also that sweetness. But here's what we really want to see how it came out. Is this meat. Look at this. Just falling apart. And in the time it took to cook the rice, I could have baked these ribs. I could have made John stand out in the rain and grill them. But you cannot get all day cooked ribs like this that just fall apart without putting them in a slow cooker. I know food. It's so good. Just melts in your mouth. Well, I want you to try this meal and let me know what you think, or any other variations you may have. There are a million recipes out there for red beans and rice. So what's yours? Email me at whimtogym@gmail.com or leave a comment on the blog and let me know. And until next time, See you later, y'all.